Awesome. It's going to be really annoying.
Okay, well, if we can't get it right, we need to cut it. Is everybody in? Guys, welcome. We're a lot happier today. This thing, look how it's played out so beautifully. They gave us a little fake out to the downside, and we came in hot and we got that long. We had the alts on corresponding levels yesterday while we were sitting here, and when BTC came back to visit those areas one more time, the alts gave us that double bottom, the dream entries. So right now I had that BTC long. I closed it this morning at about this zone here, 25,800. I also picked up an injective long off the 786. It was a dream trade. Look at this move off the 786. 6.3 was the bottom. I got it about 6.45 on that bounce. I'm out of injective. You can see it's rejected there at the 618. I am now currently sitting in a short on optimism. Let me just pull that up. There you go. I'm in a short on optimism right now, and we'll go into detail as to why I shorted it just now. And I'm slowly building a long position on Sol. I'm making a couple of assumptions here that was the bottom of the move. It's a small position at the moment. I'm buying little pullbacks. I want to see if we can get something there. And if that was the bottom, then it's a nice move up. But we've done very well on this BTC, and we've done very well on injective. And we're going to see how this optimism short plays out here for us now. Let's take a look, go back to BTC. Typical move yesterday, hey guys. A little fake out. They love to do that to us. They love to scare the shit out of everybody. Then everybody starts shorting late. And what happens? They come in, the buyers step in, and we saw the buyers step in. If you look at these 15-minute candles here, look at that. The buyers came in nicely here on the second move down, and that was a nice signal for us that we could start moving higher. So if you did get that one, we are now at a TP zone. Obviously for BTC, you can see why it was a zone of resistance or interest. We still had that old 382 that was sitting here, and we've rejected one more time at that 382. So guys, I see we've got our regular faces here. I see Greg's here. Marcus, I want to see Marcus. Marcus was playing with perp yesterday. I want some feedback. If Marcus is here, how'd your perp go? I see it had another bounce or another rejection on that 382. We'll take a look at that for you later as well. We've got Bruce is here. He's coming with some great setups. I know Bruce did very well on render yesterday. I saw that. Great setup. Hopefully you guys got that one with him. Simon's here, the indicator man, the wizard. Your background's missing today there, Simon. What's going on there?
I'm trying, man. I'm on a different computer. I'm working on it.
Okay, we'll let you off the hook. Okay, Simon's got, it sounds like he's got one or two setups for us as well. Just my general view right now is we've seen this beautiful move. We had alts tee up off these awesome zones. Render, for example, was also an absolute crack. I'm going to leave that up to Bruce to take you through render. But yeah, we are at resistance zones now. So we can't get too excited at these resistance areas. We need to, yesterday when we were all gloomy and bleak, I mean, the mood here was dark, wasn't it? We were all a little bit down. The candles were red. We didn't know what was going to happen. But that's when we do our work, and that's where we get our entries. And we did that work, and now we can enjoy it today. You know, we a little bit, I can feel there's a little bit more energy. I'm loving it today. Green candles always fix things. Okay, so BTC wise, we know where we are. We're going to play it cautiously now. If BTC wants to carry on, it needs to start getting support here, guys. So I'm not looking for new longs on BTC. I'm out of mind for now. Area to watch if we do push higher. We've got this resistance zone up here. We're going to look for rejections over there. And then we did have a 618 that was a little bit higher. But now we're going to pull the 618 from this high to this low, and look at that. Okay, so now this is looking like a great resistance area. If we do push up to this zone, we're going to look for the same thing we look for down here. We're going to look for that fake out above there, above the 618, and then we're going to look for that move lower. That's if BTC wants to go a little bit higher. So for me personally, my next potential trade is going to be over there for BTC. Otherwise, again, we're going to look down here and see what we get over there. So right now, there's nothing happening for me here. Let's take a look at some of these altcoins and just recap where we were yesterday. So Injective was a great one for us. It was sitting on the 786 while BTC was sitting on support. And we saw something so awesome yesterday. We saw BTC bleeding down, but dominance was actually also coming down a little bit. And that is often a sign for us that we might be getting a reversal imminently. And we saw that happening, and it's played out quite nicely. So Injective gave us this great bounce, and it's now broken trend, rejected at a 618, which is the standard play we talk about here. We break the trend. We always reject at some kind of horizontal or fib, and then we look for that retest play. And here we are sitting with Injective currently retesting this trend and 382. So if you are bullish on things and you are, bullish on Injective, this is your first area where you start looking for your retest entries. It's the 382. My preferred area for Injective is down here at the 6.7 level. I've put an alarm in there for you guys on the Discord as well. So if we get an opportunity down here, you can see this area is very interesting. Look at this 200-day MA coming through here. We got the horizontal, we got the 618, and we've got the trend. So if we get Injective down here, I think it's worth a look for a long. So 6.7, that's my area that I'm interested in on Injective. Okay, let's look at DOT. DOT was also, I mean, it's just so nice when these things play out like this. DOT came down. We've actually missed our alarm on Discord by a few cents. But DOT came down and pinged this 3.9 for us, just above 3.9, and actually gave us a really nice bounce. And you can see why this area is so interesting for us. Look at all these weekly candles here. This is the weekly chart for DOT. So we know this is a high impact zone. We know this is a high bounce area. So let's keep watching this zone. If DOT wants to drift down lower again, I think we could look for longs here as well one more time and see if we can catch that move higher. Let's look at DYDX. Base, didn't quite make our level, the 1.8 that I was hunting, but bounced really well. And as expected, look where it's rejected. For those of you that like the 618, look at this. It's just classic play. Push up into trend, push up into this nice juicy area here and the 618 zone, and it rejected. Now the bulls want to see this thing push up. We can't be long here. We can't be long in this resistance zone. We need to let it pop up, let it pull back, and then we can look for buys on a retest of that area. So right now the only trade is shorts into this type of resistance, the 618 and trend. So no longs here at the moment until we go a little bit lower, or we break up and we pull back and find some support there. GRT, you're going to see so many of these alts playing out like this. And we did discuss this yesterday. We looked at the situation. We were saying any strength, we're looking for rejections into these type of areas. And look at GRT also just missed this alarm on Discord by a couple of cents here. But you can see why it's rejected, guys. 236 fib, horizontal. This was a big area. This guy, huge. This was big. And we had our trend. You can see where we pulled our trend over there. And this is area as a whole is a big resistance zone now that we're watching, and you can see it rejected very hard there. So let's watch GRT a bit longer now. So the short was at 0.082, 0.083. That sort of region was your short zone. So now if you are not in a position, you need to either wait for it to push higher, or we want to wait and see how things settle down. Let's look for this pullback. Let's see where it settles on GRT. Sol was also a nice one. Bruce, are you going to handle Sol for us today?
Be glad to.
Okay, so I'll leave Sol for
go
you.
For it. By the way, I get a lot.
Oh, you got a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I get a lot. Go for it.
Do we have any setups brewing today?
None that are imminent, but a bunch that are getting ready.
Okay. So far what I can see is this Injective retest 382 and trend, something to look at. But for me, I want it a little bit lower. Okay, let's go to Sol. So Sol, again, we're just tracking this thing down. We still like this region down here, but I wanted to stay in something. So I'm now sitting in Sol. Obviously, if I'm wrong, I'm going to be stopped out, but I'm accumulating a little position down here. I want to see how things play out this week with this quadruple witching and the volatility in the market. So let's wait and see. But Sol dropped down, pushed back up. What did it do? Rejected horizontal and trend right here at this 19 level, which is expected, I would say, because it's a strong area. Now we need to let things settle. If you are bullish on Sol, we can try and dive in. Maybe Bruce can help us on those 15-minute candles a bit later, and we can try and dial in and look for some kind of setup on Sol. Bruce, if you're spotting one there, maybe Simon can also take a look for us and see if there's some kind of entry happening here on Sol.
To me, it's in the middle of the right between two levels, so it's got to either go bounce to the top or come retrace back to the bottom before I would enter it. But this is the one that I'm looking at also for the first of a wave of longer term trades.
I just feel like if that was the bottom of the move, and even looking at Sol here, it might not be, because we've got these areas lower. I think you even had 15, Bruce, as one of your areas.
I've got a market 1580, 1582, but I wouldn't be surprised if it bounces at 1753, which is I got marked. The other thing to know is that the news on Sol is exceptional. Visa just came out with a competitive report between the layer ones, and they're going with Sol, and their rationale was, faster, cheaper, more robust, more transactions, more development. I mean, it was a pretty strong,
and that's why I'm trying to accumulate a little position here, just in case things turn. I want to make sure I'm on here, because there'll be a nice mega squeeze there, I would think, on Sol when things do reverse. Okay, cool. So we'll keep our eyes on Sol.
Not a recommendation in any way, shape, or form, but for me, my largest bag for long term is actually Solana.
Nice.
I like it.
Just saying.
We fans of Sol here at these offices as well.
Definitely.
I might have bought some cash, Simon.
Oh, well done. You'll be
I can't
pleased.
trade it, but I can hold it.
let me tell you now, you'll be pleased to know that I think it's going to go down later.
Oh, awesome. Great.
Yeah, I'll fill you in. I'll fill you in shortly, don't worry.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, guys, so just to recap this optimism situation, we had that nice bearish head and shoulders. This is the 8 hour. So we had this big setup that we looked for weeks on the Discord. It took ages for this thing to play out. It did eventually play out, and it came and it tested this area twice. Didn't quite go deep enough into our alarm, but the move was there. When I woke up this morning, I saw this thing pumping into this 618 and resistance zone. So I opened up a small short at this area over here, and you can see why, to me, it makes sense. Trend, big 618, also a nice horizontal zone. So that is why I've done that. We will be bullish again on optimism when it breaks this area and gets support somewhere in this region and then starts moving up. Then I'll change my view on it, obviously. But that is something that I've now, I've shorted that area. It made sense for me. Okay, BLZ, we had a nice little 618 move there. So again, they tested it again, wicked up. Look where that candle, they just bought up this area. So this BLZ is on from that 618, guys. So if you got that, that's lovely. There's no entry now. This is the 8 hour. So let's let things play out. I still like this trend over here. I want to see that get addressed or get touched somehow and see what happens from there. Rune could be a good one to keep your eyes on. There's a bit of trend pressure here. This is the Rune 8 hour. So this could be a nice simple one. I've put an alarm on for you guys on Discord. So if it breaks the trend, you should get a ping, and that will alert you to Rune, and then you can get it in front of you and figure out how you want to play it. Right now, it's rejecting at trend. So this, guys, is typical resistance, trend resistance, rejection here, looking for a move lower to these areas. If things turn bullish, you know what to do now. We're going to break up, probably reject at some kind of horizontal area. Then we look for that retest, and then we can go. Okay, so always when we break this trend, always look for this rejection first. Don't just assume it's just going to carry on and going straight through. More often than not, it's going to reject at some kind of horizontal or fib area and then give you that retest. Okay, ADA again, like perfect setup. Look at this. I mean, lost old support, pinged double bottom, which I never stop talking about. You guys must be so annoyed with me talking about this all the time, but we get this time and time again on these altcoins, and you've got to look out for them. Look at it, just drifted down beautifully, bounced. Where did we reject? 786 and old support. Okay, so that is short zone. When we hit that area, that is your short zone. That's where you're looking for the move back down. You know, if we've had old support like this for so long, it can't suddenly just be easy resistance to break. I mean, obviously sometimes it can run through, but you got to assume the reverse. You know, if we invert this thing, we long this all day. We'd long this pullback all day. It's a break, pullback onto support if we were looking to long this chart over here, and it works exactly the same way when we turn it back around. Okay, so you can see why that's a short area. We turn bullish again when we break this area and we start finding support out of this trend. So let's move that. I think the ideal situation would be a break up here and then support developing in this region. That would be epic, actually, if we could get something along those lines. So keep your eyes on that one. Right now, any moves up here are onto old support, which is now resistance. So the moves into that are for shorters and bears. Bulls, you need to be patient now. You need to let this thing pull back lower, or you need to let it break and then pull back and get your buys in. Okay, fetch, same story. Trend rejection. So again, we're going to play this trend. If it breaks trend, we can turn bullish on FET. We can then wait for our buyback. I mean, our buy. Here's an alarm for you on Discord, guys, 0.2384. So if it starts sticking its head out again, you can start opening your fetch chart and just pay attention to it. And we want to look for something along these lines again. That's the safest play you're going to get in this type of situation if you want to be long. Otherwise, let it pull back, let it drift lower, and let's look for buys on these support zones. I still love this 618. Don't know if we're going to get it, but this is a lovely area down here. Look at that. Look at that support there. So 618 there, we could get a nice little move. So just eyes on this trend. Hopefully this alarm pings if we do get some action, and then you can take advantage of that. Cass, I'm leaving up to you, Simon. Lido was an interesting one as well. Double bottom, another boring double bottom on these altcoins here. Yeah, so it's not performing that well. I just thought it was notable. We do have a trend that you can watch. So keep your eyes on this trend for Lido. And then we've got this massive weekly area down here. So if things turn south again with BTC, we're looking at a bounce in this area, the 1.16 region I like for Lido. So we're either playing this break and retest and we go up, or we're just going to wait and see what happens when we hit this area. And then render. Bruce, you're doing render for us. Okay. Cool. So yeah, those are my alts on the 8-hour sort of situation that I have going on. I'm going to hold this optimism short position. If we lose this wick, I will exit. If we start breaking higher than that, I'll start cutting. I might not close the full position because there is the 618 over here that I think could give us something as well. So I'm gonna watch optimism, see how it plays out here. And then for Sol, I'm gonna hold Sol. I don't know what I'm going to do yet if we start losing these lows, because we do have this sensitive area here, and that's why it's just a small position right now. I just want to see how things play out now in the next couple of days. We've made some money on this BTC. We've made some money on a nice injective here, and I want to see what happens now with Sol. So I'm going to try and just accumulate something here in case we get this move. So yeah, not big stuff, not high risk stuff. Okay, cool. So what do we got? Simon.
Side's got some stuff and he's
Bruce,
got to run.
what do you got?
Yep.
And guys, and David couldn't
Side's
make
gotta
it
run,
today,
so
unfortunately. He sends his apologies. Cool, guys. Who wants to take it away?
Side?
Yeah, by all means. I'm just you'll have to excuse me today, guys. I've got two problems. Number one, I'm on a laptop, which isn't my usual powerful process. It's a bit jumpy.
Were you on like a PC?
It's still a Mac.
Oh, still a Mac. Okay, just
still a Mac.
okay.
This is one of the Macs from the office. And the other problem is I've got one of the kids here and he's proper noisy today. So I'll just
see what you can do. It's all good.
Of course. Right, here we go. Okay. So you see my screen, right?
Yeah.
It's Dylan's old PC. Look at those comments. Right. Let me jump back to the Solana one. My take on Solana, I've put it on a slightly longer time frame, the 8 hour. And then what I've done is I've just brought a couple of trend lines in and I've left Luxal go on to kind of give myself a picture as to what's going on. Now, we obviously had this short play out, which wasn't much of a short because really it's only, well, still 16%, so it just looked small on the screen. I'm going to make the screen a bit bigger for you, but essentially we had a short, we had a take profit, which came. I'm not sure it's done yet, if I'm honest. I still kind of see another, maybe, a bit of this, Dylan. I'm not sure before we get the green buy. So I'm not sure yet. We need to wait for some more candles to print, but I would guess that it's not clear cut just yet, So that's my view on Solana. I think we're still somewhere in the middle. The only thing.
So I'm going to get wrecked, yeah.
Not necessarily. If you look here, there's only one TP here on this trade. There's only one TP here on this trade, and there's only one that's appeared. So we may still get the green lozenge and then the buy. So the answer is I can't be sure. Deal, and on that basis, I can't recommend anything. Do you know what I mean? It's it just pure. I'm just going to make this not full screen and see if that helps. Can you still see the screen? All right. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Looks good.
So that's my view on Solana. I'm going to rush through them because I can hear him getting whingy next door. Right. I'll do games for a living last. You just covered DOT, didn't you? But my opinion for DOT is exactly the same. Exactly the same. We had a short. We had to take profit. And at this point, we are going up. The RSI is going up, but we have got a red candle, which is printing as we speak. So again, DOT may also not be finished. We might still get another push down on DOT. I'm not completely confident to recommend that one either. So yeah, I'm not going to do injective because you did that already. Right, Casper. So Casper, you just bought today, right?
I bought yesterday.
Okay, cool. So you bought the top.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay,
but it wasn't a trade, guys. It was just a DCA situation, and I thought I got to get involved in this thing.
Let me tell you now, when it's $1, you won't care. Okay. So here's the deal. It printed a long 4, 8, 12, 16, roughly a day ago, day and a half, something like that. And then what we've done is we've kind of lingered around the same level. The trend has been green, but the price action hasn't really gone crazy. We are kind of at the upper limit of normal price action. So my opinion is combine that with the fact that this RSI is sitting at 80. I think you'll probably find, Dill, that if you were to sell your CAS again, you might be able to buy in a bit cheaper. Hold on 1 second, guys.
I'm never selling. I'm in it for the tick.
Not now. I can't even mute. Hang on. Right. Still there? Hang on.
I'm here.
We're here.
Okay, right.
We're here.
Not a happy child. It's fine. So my opinion for Casper is potentially, it's gone on screen. I think you maybe have bought the local top deal.
Thank you.
That is not to say that, sorry, I can't even see it now. It's gone off the screen. But that's not to say that for, it'll come down just a little bit and then it'll push up further. On the daily, you're at 80, 82, 81. It's quite high. This is quite high up on the RSI. I think you might do better by DCAing when this falls down a little bit more next week. So just something to bear in mind, mate. I'm not saying to sell because when it's $1, you'll be glad you've got it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of these DCA bags, in my opinion. I think you'll probably find there's better deals to be had next week on that one.
Okay. Well, thank you. Look, I'm involved. At least I'm in.
Absolutely. So, listen, it's one of the big ones for the next bull run. I've been in this for a long time. I'm a believer. And then the last two that I've got, Quant. You've heard me talk about Quant before. So for me, the last time we were messing around with this deal and it was sitting at 100, right? Since then, we've had the reset of the RSI. It's kind of messed around a little bit. The trend is still red, but we did get a take profit as it approached the sort of lower end of the cloud, as it were. So this might not be such a bad time if you don't own quant, or if you've gone short on quant.
I like the look of this. I'm going to start charting it here on my side as well, just to get the Fibonacci going.
Yeah, sure. So this, to me, if you're in a short, guys, already, because I did speak about this last week, this might be a good time to exit the short. And if you're not in a short and you're looking to go long, well, it's not definite, because again, the RSI is flattening out a little bit. It's not very clear, but we have had a take profit from the short. So what I'm kind of expecting on quant is maybe the same as Solana and DOT, this before we go. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. So perhaps if you set yourself some alarms for around the $90, maybe the $89 mark, you might find that that lines up with somewhere.
So there's a wick, guys, at on the 17th of August that I've got in front of me at 90.5. So could be a nice little visit there, and that could be a nice area.
Yeah, well, we're pretty close to that now, hey. All right, and then shall I do? Sorry about the noise. Just ignore it. Shall I do one more for you? I've got games for a living again. Okay, cool.
Yeah, please.
All right, so games for a living, I've been covering on the Discord section on the Banter Hub, guys. I've spent quite a lot of time on this one. The last couple of times I posted, one of them was on, it was a slightly higher time frame, but I essentially sold most of my spot bag here when I saw this X. And then what I advised on there was you can't actually short games for a living. So I was looking for a lower price to come back in at, and my actual buy was at the very bottom of this wick. So just really to show that if you guys are on Discord and you've been following the posts, you'll have seen me talk about these group of candles here, how it was pushing up through the cloud. Then you'd have heard me talk about how it was kind of consolidating. Then I gave an indication that I was pulling out the spot market here, and then I had a buy order set for around the 0.19. And sure enough, that's exactly where the wick went to. Just by following, excuse me, just by following that alone, I've now got 15 or 16% more tokens just from this sell and just from this buy. So if you are on Discord, guys, we're offering multiple ways that you can actually make money out of this market. So I just thought it was nice to bring that to your attention as well. Okay.
Hey, Simon, a lot of people are asking, Simon, a lot of people are asking when, how, where you're going to start doing some education on how you set up and use the indicators.
No problem. Here's a question. Are we allowed to talk about what we're doing on Thursday yet? Because I'll break the news now if we are.
Yeah, I guess. Why not? No reason. Cool. Yeah.
All right, guys. So on Thursday, we're having our second 24-hour
week from Thursday. Not this Thursday, but a week from Thursday, right?
Yeah, it's a week from Thursday. I'm glad you said that. We're having our second 24-hour marathon. And the very first thing I did was pencil in an hour at 9 o'clock UK time in the morning to do an hour on just Lux Algo. And then what I'll do is in the afternoon, I'm going to spend some time. I know that Sean is going to be on. I guess maybe if Bruce has got space for me, I'll jump on with him and perhaps bring some other charts. And obviously, we're going to have the live session with Dylan. So there'll be plenty of opportunities over that 24 hours to actually sit down and go into these settings right here and actually learn what this menu does and how we can use it, you know. So
yeah, nice. So guys, if you want to learn, I mean, we bring the Lux Algo stuff here, we're showing you what we're doing, but it might be too long to explain every time. So book that slot. Have you booked the slot, Simon?
I have. It's done. It's 9 o'clock Thursday week.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so guys, just tune into that. There'll probably be a recording as well, so you can watch it at your leisure if you miss it.
There'll be 3 recordings because we went on for so long last time, so we're going to break it up 3 times. All right.
Okay, nice.
Cool.
That'd be great. That'd be really great. And by the way, if you're awake during mine will be on that day too, but a little over 2 hours from now. If you're up and around and want to grab like 30 minutes, I booked 2 hours. If you want to jump in and do some stuff, I know people in the US would love it.
But mate, I'm there for you. It's done. Just we'll talk nearer the time. It's done. Consider it done. Awesome.
Sweet. Sweet. And no, the previous recording didn't happen, but we're planning how to do it this time, so that each of the sections will be recorded. We're going to do a better job technically this time than the first time.
We've got an absolute legend behind the scenes now, haven't we? Who's going to make it amazing for everybody.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Shot. Simon, thank you.
Sure, man. No
Thanks,
problem.
You want me to go through some stuff, Joe?
Yeah, Bruce, please show us what's happening. I'm still hunting for setups that we can maybe get live on the stuff. So yeah, please carry on. And then I want to talk. Marcus was trading perp and he got smashed. Something like his stop loss didn't work. So Marcus, I'm going to talk about some stops just now, and it happens on these exchanges, guys. So if it's happened to you, like, let's just listen just now. We'll cover it and how to try and deal with these stops to stop you from getting absolutely rinsed if things don't catch.
So there's a bunch of things I'm looking at. This move has done, it was really interesting. I was getting so tired of grass growing. So I'm noticing that all the setups fall into two categories. BLZ, I can never pronounce it right. Blue Zell or Blaze or what? I never get it right.
Blue Zell.
What is it? Blue Zell. Okay. So Blue Zell, basically actually came down to the bottom of the range, sweet trade back up to the top of the range. And so the question is it going to stay bullish and find a way to bounce up, at which point you get a retest and then can take a long? Or for right now, I'm going to assume that it's just going to stay in the range and drop down, right? In other words, it's like laws of momentum. For those that know any kind of physics, an object will continue in motion, unless acted upon by an external force. Well, trading is like that too. A trend will continue until somebody comes along and puts in a sell or a buy or whatever that moves in the opposite direction. A range will continue unless it's acted upon by someone buying a lot or selling a lot. And so let's assume that this is going to stay in this range for now. I'm just watching for confirmation on that. It was a wonderful trade yesterday on that. So this is type 1, right? Nice pump up, came to the top, rejecting off an area where there are just a lot of shorts, right? You can physically see it sitting over here in this area. Is why we create these horizontal levels. Are a lot of traders who are shorting. Price comes up over there, they go, my perfect entry for a short, and the number of shorts is greater than the number of longs, and that simply shoves price down. If this has enough momentum where there are a lot of longs, and there is still more longs going in here, people think it's going to go up, that are greater than the number of remaining shorts right over there, it'll pump up and through. It's really that simple. So buyers against sellers at every point in time. So right now I'm keeping an eye on this for coming back under. I've got a trend line in place. Hang on a second, let me get rid of some of this crap. There we go. I got a trend line in place, and I'm going to watch it. If it bounces here, I'm looking for it to bounce, come back up, kind of wick around here a little bit. But if it breaks down through that trend line, that'll be a hint that it's going to come back down. Or if it does bounce back up and you can pick it right off that area right over there, to me, that's a worthwhile short. Conversely, render is like injective. The injective that Dylan showed were broke above, like that. That's classic, right? Broke
very
above,
nice.
above that support area. It's coming back and retesting it. I got an alert there just like you do. I'm waiting for it to come right back into the intersection of the 200 moving average, that support level, and that trend line. That to me should be pretty darn sweet. But what's interesting is render's in the same place. Render, which was a wonderful trade yesterday, was in a range, right? We talked about that. Broke out of this, right? There was enough momentum to break out of the top of this resistance area, came up above, and it's rejecting back. And this resistance area is now support. So definitely going to track this as it comes down. This is the 382 from this move right there. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see how I'm doing it, right? So right now I'm simply going to track it. right? And see how deep it's going to come in here. To me, the deeper the better, right? But this right there, that candle is kind of a good hint. So actually, I'm going to mark it for you because I'm going to watch it. So that's my target right now. If we can get it to, it'll probably react right at that level, or likely to right in there to take a nice long. And what do we got from this? So I'm pretty bullish on render. That gives us the potential of a move up to the 200-day moving average, which is 15.5%. That's pretty darn sweet.
No, this render play was just so epic, and I'm actually quite sorry I missed this. I mean, we sat here live watching it hit the 618. And it just absolutely blew up from there, and it was a classic play. I mean, your support resistance flipped there at 1.4. You can see it so clearly, and there was a 618 sitting there as well, adding extra fuel, and there was a trend line. You know, in hindsight now, that was probably the best trade. I went with injector, but it should have been render. I'm loving this new area now, the support zone. And one more thing, right now, Bruce, it's fighting the 50-day MA. If you add that onto your chart, you'll see it's having a little battle there. So yeah, good area. If it holds this now, guys, exactly, Bruce, I agree exactly with what you're saying here. The next range is in play. So
look at that. Yeah, no, this is my top one that I'm ready to go with right now is render. It just really looks good. Yeah, there's everything about it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it looks good.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, and I see JJ Coco got the rendered 1.4. Okay, that's awesome, man. Well done, well done.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't catch the first move on this. Here's what's interesting, is just going back in history a little bit. Right. So you guys caught this thing, but I was so wrapped up in the show and doing what we were doing that what I did is I simply waited for, like any move, you don't want to chase these things, right? But they're always going to, let me draw the line in there, but nothing will move in a straight line, or rarely move in a straight line. But what's going to happen is it's going to come up, it's going to retest, it's going to stair step retest. I caught that retest right there, right? So it was up over here and everybody's panicking. Oh my God, it's gone. Well, if you just patient and wait, set a trap down over here. Caught that retest.
I love your style, Bruce. It's so cool, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's also, the other thing I like about this is that the reversals to me has increased profit and increased risk because it can just blow down through it. But if you get a confirmation that the trend is reversed, you have a slightly smaller P&L, slightly smaller profit on it, but it's much less risky because you can set a really tight stop loss here, because anything below that new trend line isn't valid. So you can just get out. So it's kind of the trade-offs that I make. We did Blues L waiting to break.
So guys, I just wanted to again make a comment, and for some of you that are new here, some of you have been with us for ages. We all have a different style of trading, and we've developed this over years of losing money, making money, getting wrecked, getting smashed, how much time we had available, all that stuff. And we all took bits and pieces from different traders that we watched and we studied, and also learned things on our own by going through the process. So I mean, Bruce has got a unique thing. I don't do it much on the 15 minutes, but it's so effective if you want to make that part of your plan. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's got to be what works for you. So if something like that works for you, go for it. Add it to your thing. Test if it works with your trading psyche. And what sort of stop are you using on these 15 minutes, Bruce?
Well, it depends on the setup. Like on this one, the way I do it is, let me get that out of the way, is that this trend line, once it's confirmed, it's like step 1, step 2, there it is right there, right? So if it breaks through that trend line, the trend is invalid. It's just a rule, right? I mean, if it wicks in and out, I'm not going to do it. But if it definitely is moving out of that, then clearly it's not doing what I think it's going to do, and I want to get out of there, and I'll find an entrance later. So what I'll do is I will set, in this particular case, I will set the stop right outside that trend line. So I had a 0.55% stop loss on this one. Right?
Okay.
The reason I look at it is that the continuation trends, I don't have to go below that. For example, on a normal trade, I'd have to go below that wick right there, right below the last low. But because my rule says on this particular kind of trade, it should never break that trend line anymore. I can raise it way up and just.
And guys, I mean, what Reese is saying here about rules, he's got strict trading rules for himself. So he doesn't bend the rules because he's feeling bullish or whatever the story is. If he loses that trend and it doesn't work with his system, he cuts and he's done. And it's important to be consistent with those rules. You've got to keep the same process every time.
Yep. It's funny because we all get, this happened to me the other day with Sai. Sai, you gave that great unfi trade and I jumped, but it wasn't the set of setups that I do. And because I jumped, my setup got screwed up and I got stopped. You didn't, because you did it with your rules. I hung
on to that.
I walked out.
And what happened was I went back and looked at it and rejiggered the trade, and I got into the trade about an hour later on my rules, and it turned out really good.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, no, just like for me, like if I identify like a really solid area, I'm prepared to let it sweat a little bit. And I think David has a similar style to that as well. He doesn't mind staring at like negative 20%, negative 30%, that sort of stuff. But again, it depends on you guys personally, how you deal with that feeling of being underwater in a position. I really like that area. So I thought, no, I'm going to sweat this thing out and see how it plays out. Unfortunately, it did work out for me there. But it doesn't always, obviously.
These things take time to develop, right? You know, this thing with Lux Algo, I have to have trend lines. I can't just use Lux Algo. It's not reliable enough for me. It's a secondary afterthought. You know, the trend lines that I've worked with for the last 5 years, for example, if something's in a downward channel for me, I'll identify that first, and then I'll put Lux Algo on or Market Cipher or whatever I'm using as confirmation. So, you know, I can't trade the 15-minute very well. There's never normally enough moves for me, but that's because I'm not good enough.
Simon, if a new trader comes to you and says to you, what's the best piece of advice you can give me as a new trader? What do you tell them?
Probably don't rush it. Don't just jump in and think you are the dog's bollocks. That would be my best advice. Get wrecked, let the market humble you, and start off with $2 trades. That's the way to do it, because once you lose 100 trades of $2, that's $200. You've lost 200 trades. Just think of what you've learned in that time. You know, that's probably the best advice I would give.
Bruce, what do you give it? What advice do you give?
To find what works for you. That's your job, and you base that on results, right? If your overall P&L is improving given a certain set of structures and rules and trades that you take, then stick with it and don't let anyone talk you out of it. And the reason it's simple is that the price for trading is the same, right? Dylan saw this, right? And I saw that, and I saw one thing. Dylan saw that and saw another. I saw this and saw one thing, and Dylan saw that and saw another. It's like music, because that's my other thing, right? Some people are jazz musicians, some people are blues musicians, and I was learning guitar, and my teacher, after a while, said to me, he says, "Yeah, you're okay." And of course, yeah, I'm working really hard. I'm going, "What do you mean I'm okay?" He said, "Yeah, you're okay. You're an okay copy of me." And I'm going like, "What are you talking about?" I says, "Yeah, you'll never be very good being me." Says, "Why don't you learn to play music and be you? Hear the sounds you hear, the intervals you hear, the time you hear." And he sent me on a journey to discover the kind of music I want to play that represents how my heart beats. And it's amazing what happened. And I don't think trading's any different, right?
100%. You got to spin it for yourself. You got to learn the lessons. You got to learn, like, I mean, 80% of trading is in the head. It's how you're dealing with losses, how you're dealing with wins.
Yep.
Do you feel hope when you're down? Do you feel greedy when you're up? You need to take that out of the equation. And it's still something I battle with personally. You know, when things are very green, I always think, oh, I'm going to squeeze this thing for another 5%. But if you actually zoom out, like, what's the point? You know, close the position, and just go and relax and be like, wow, great day out there, rewarded. Now I don't have to worry. I don't have to look at my phone for the next 6 hours. New setup coming tomorrow. These new setups come every day. So, you know, if people ask me for advice, what I normally say is trade less for crypto. Don't overtrade. Maybe in the beginning when you're learning and you're playing around, you got to fast track some stuff. So there is maybe something for that. But yeah, when you get to like bigger position sizes, trade less. And for me, it's bigger stops. So if I have a bigger stop, I also want a great entry, because if I'm going to lose on that stop, I'm going to feel it. That's why I spend so much time hunting these areas that I love so much, that you can see that I get so excited about. And then if I miss it, like for example, Bruce, if you like that third bounce on that trend on your render chart.
Right.
So for me, if I wanted to be long render, I'd probably be looking at this thing on a 4 hour, and then I'd be saying, oof, you know, my risk here is now 1.5, 2% or whatever on the way down. You know, and then that gets quite expensive. So for me, it's trade less, precision entries, and then allow it to breathe. You know, we often get those wicks. Like BTC came for us last night. They wicked us down. If I was cutting immediately, I would have got stopped out and woken up to a pumping BTC, and I wasn't in the game.
There is
that guy.
There is one other thing. What date was that deal? Just out of interest, how long ago was that?
Yesterday.
Okay, cool. So I was just going to bring on to a different point. You know, the games for a living trade that I spoke about just before, that took me 6 days to execute. So there's another lesson there. As long as you believe in your trading, your charting, and your thesis, these things take time. Like I called games for a living 6 days before the wick happened. And I kept doubting myself. And as the days went on, I'm like, I've fucked up here. Maybe I've now got a 20% less spot bag because I sold too early. It's never going to touch there. And I thought, you know what? Bollocks to the market. I'm right. I'm going to wait. And it came. So patience sometimes is a real virtue.
I see. I'm looking at James here. James Crypto, New York City. He says, thanks, Dylan, David, and Bruce. He's got 141% on a stacks long there. He's got 70% or 117% on Sol. Just be careful out there. Okay.
Yeah, be careful.
Just be careful out there, guys.
So another one, I mean, getting back to the charts for a second, SNX is another one that did exactly the same. Broke up, retesting this level right here. It may have broken through. I was pretty careless with my trend line there. Yeah, that's something to watch. I'm not sure what it's doing. Hang on a sec. Yeah, SNX might be one that's ready to pump from here. It's really deep into the zone.
I like the look of this.
Yeah, I do too. It wasn't like this when I first brought it up.
This render's also looking interesting, yeah.
Yep. I've lost more trades being on this show than anything else, because we're talking and we're doing things instead of trading. Anyway.
No, it happens. It happens.
I know. It's fun. Tomo was going to say earlier, let me come back up to the 1 hour so we can see it better. I was going to say that Tomo was on an uptrend over here. And you can just see it. I'm tracking, basically in range again, doing that thing. It made it to mid-range yesterday. I got a Q trade. I got this Q trade out of it, but when it just started getting really weak mid-range, I bolted. I thought it was going to bounce here, but I'm not so sure anymore. I think we're gonna have to wait the next couple candles, because it's either just the way it's shaping up right now. It's either gonna bounce here. I gotta adjust the trend line a little bit, or I'm kind of thinking that it's going to come back down, retest support here before going up again. If it comes back down to this area, just get ready for a nice long. That'll probably work out really well. If it continues climbing up over here, I'm going to wait until it gets to the top for rejection and take a short. But right now, it's in a no trade zone for me.
Okay, so from what I see now is SNX and Render are looking interesting.
Yes.
Keep an eye on them. Then there were a couple of questions, guys. So I'm going to go through some of your charts now. YGG was one of them. I think somebody
Good.
asked for STG. Drop some in the chat there. If I missed anything, guys, just drop me a list of tokens and we'll gladly take a look at them and see. If you see anything exciting out there, please give us some exclamation marks. Let us know. We really need to look at it. And then we will jump on it for you. Okay, so let's start with STG. I think it was SGG. STG. Oof.
Oh,
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wow. Okay. No comment.
Yeah.
Straight to zero.
Up below.
STG. I don't even know what this project is. Okay, this is the weekly. So the first thing I want to see is look for weekly areas. Where's this thing going to bounce potentially? Where am I going to get a reaction? So I always like to zoom out on the weekly and I look for sort of a high impact area. So let's see, we should get something in that region over there. You can see why there's not much now coming down. Let's look at a trend possibility to see what that is. It's not great. Yeah, it's looking a little bit sad here. I would stay away from this. I'm pulling a fib from that low there. We don't have much here. I would wait. If somebody asked me where would I buy this thing? Down here, 0.43, somewhere around there. Okay, let's move on. So here, YGG, I mean STG, just give it time. Let it play out. There's lots of selling here. Wow. Okay, YGG. We must check Matic. Matic was on its way to hell as well yesterday. Okay, what do we got? Okay, so we got our old trend that we had here. Okay. Almost a full visit. So I would look for this as support now, guys. Okay, let's see if that holds. Let's zoom in a bit more. Okay, so I'm going to pull a fib from this low to the high. I'm assuming that's the high of the move. You can see why it rejected immediately. You can see why it rejected there. Look at that. Okay, so always just look for these areas where you've seen old support or old resistance. You just like identify that immediately as soon as you can, and that gives you your rejection areas. Then when it starts tying in with things like the 200-day, the 618 trends, it's basically a free gift. It's literally, they're like wrapping you a present with whatever you want on it. It's just a gift. Okay, so just wait for these things. 618 there. Let's look where the 382 is. Look at that. Okay, 382 bounce there. Okay, so if you are bullish on tokens, if things are like uber bullish, you're looking at the 236 fib. Okay, that happens. You'll see that on BTC sometimes. Maybe when an alt's on a complete tear, you're looking for that 236 pullback. I quite like the 382 pullback. It means we are bullish. 618 is a so-so vibe. It's normally when you're feeling quite bearish and these things move on to the 618. Obviously, the higher the time frame, the better. So the bigger the 618 pull. Like if you got a 618 pull from like 2 weeks ago to today, that's obviously a lot stronger than a 618 pull from the last 3 hours. But yeah, so it's 382 bullish pullbacks, and you can see what it's trying to do here. It's trying to hold this level, and it wants to now just hang here and try and test this region again. That's going to be a problem, the 200-day. But when we break up there, this thing's going to move, and you're going to target this trend. Okay, so watch this 382. If we lose that and do the 618, BTC's maybe a little bit sad, but it's not terrible. If we start making new lows down here, then we know that BTC is not in good shape. So yeah, but I don't mind this here. This is nice. Let's look for support.
People are asking for TRB. I've been trading that for a bit.
Oh,
It's
okay.
you know, you want to show?
I'll leave that for you. Yeah, you can do TRB. Let me just jump into super and stacks. Oh, veracity. Okay, no, they really want TRB. Okay, Bruce, give us TRB, please. There's like lots of people asking for this thing.
Gee, good
Okay.
grief.
Give them what they want. Give them what they need.
Wow. TRB, the reason I was that I said about this, TRB fits in with the SNX and render in that it's been really doing well. I got into this trade on the second bounce right there, rode it all the way up to there, came back and retraced and created a really clear trend line. Strong area of support right over there, which it broke resistance, which broke through. So now it's above there. So just like the others, now it's patience time, right? Now we got to wait for this thing to go up as high as it's going to go and then let it come back down. And it's probably the intersection of wherever it stops pumping, the intersection of
I love that trend
line support is going to be an entry for a continuation.
Bruce, do me a favor. Please pull a fib from that 11th of the month there and to the high. Yeah, somewhere from there to the top. Yeah, from there. I just want to see. Look at that. Okay. So guys, just be patient. Just wait for it. Okay. That's going to be your prime, your best entry. You can see there's a trend there. There's some horizontal. There's 382. It's a basic, you know, break the resistance, come back onto support, bounce on trend. Just be patient. Don't rush it. Don't jump in now, you know, and put a stop under the candle. You're just asking for trouble. Let it come back. If you miss it, there's 3,000 other tokens we can trade, and we'll be here every day.
I'll post these three in Discord when we're done here. This is I think this is another nice setup too. Cool.
Marcus, Marcus, we're going to do SNX for you as well. We must deal with Peppy. No, what was it? Peppy. It wasn't Peppy. It was Perp. Okay. 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 Somebody wants spell as well. And if there's anyone out there who wants to come onto the stage, show us what they got, what they're trading. Wow.
I've got another 10 minutes before I have to bolt. I'm on doctor duty.
Guys,
today.
spell, what is going on here? Okay, well, you can see the rejection at the 200-day is going to come if you're brave enough to play that game. We got it on Trader Joe. That was a great short off the 200-day and trend. Let's see what else we have. If we got something extra over this 200-day, I think we're going to get a short opportunity here. Let's see what we got there. So I just like to break it into blocks and sections. It should have something going on there in this little mid-range area. Something's going to happen there. This 200-day is a big one, though. It's a big one. Okay, so guys, in the chats, if you know anything about spell and what might have caused this, because it might be just a typical, you know, pump on some news, and it's actually a nice opportunity for us to get short there. So if you know what the news is, please let us know. But this 200-day is coming, and you know, a lot of the time we get a rejection off the 200-day. So I would look for a short in this region over here, maybe a push into that and then down. Let's see. Let's see what we get here. FTM will do OAX. I got lots of exclamations on OAX.
I knew who that was when I heard that's the name. Hi.
Okay, so there's support. So you want to watch the support hold. We want to see this area be solid here. Okay, you can see why this is now an area to watch. Okay, so we can get some kind of support here. We can look for that move higher. Nice little range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, if you get this pullback, 0.1485, that sort of region, might be nice to look for something there. You've got some 50-day MA coming up as support. I don't like these big selling wicks though; they're not ideal.
Exactly.
And then you've
This
got
is
the
I was looking at too.
yeah. I mean, when I see these wicks, I generally try and stay away personally because I just the downside is always a lot. But you can see what's going on here. It's trying to hold the 618 here, and we do have the 786 as support. So this is strong for me. This 0.148 region, I really like that. Otherwise, you've got a little 618, a little bit of action there that you can play around with. Okay, nice. Veracity, yes. Sorry, I keep saying veracity and I don't look at it. Ah, okay, nice. So we were speaking about this. Your friend was trading veracity the other day, and we were talking about visiting some wicks. Let's see what it did. Geez, it even went lower. Look at that. Look at that. So my eyes were on this guy as a potential visit. They came even lower, flushed us there. Okay, so veracity, this is now your resistance and short area. You can see it's clear. Old support, now resistance. You've got a 618 there and a 786, both decent rejection zones. And so horizontal, and then the trend as well over here. Okay, so let's see what we get. If we get that break, then you know it's on. Yeah, maybe another visit down there. Surprise double bottom from an altcoin. Okay, so yeah, there's no long here at the moment, and there's no short. There's a short pushing up into this 0.00405 region. That area, you could look for shorts potentially. And just to explain again, you can see why this is old support. Major support here. It was bouncing. It becomes resistance. Okay, so there will be a fight there. GAL and stacks. Look at that 200-day, guys. You can see it. That's why I was interested in this 200-day on the spell. I think it might be an opportunity. Look how this thing just rejects off that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you just, yeah, I mean, this 200-day on its own, what do we got? Yeah, 16% rejection on the daily. That's insane.
Well,
but with selling like that, I don't know. You know, I don't really want to get too involved in these. I just, you see that type of selling, it's hectic. Especially, you don't really want to trade leverage in something like this. You can just get so hurt. Yeah. That's why we sometimes just stick to the boring ones.
mm-hmm.
This is the only area I would look right now if this thing was going to stay bullish. The 786. It's got to hold this 50-day MA in the 786. whatever, but please include fibs in your system. They just deliver time and time again. They just deliver. Even if you're using it as like confirmation for something or whatever. Just get it, like make a habit of pulling fibs, really. Like you get better at it, you get different views, different angles. But really get fibs into your game as soon as you can.
Yep.
Okay, Reef and Magic.
Mhm.
How's render? It looks all right there.
You're consolidating.
Lost trend. Okay, so I mean, this looks like a possibility here. Okay, you see that high there, and that ties in with this 382. If that happens, obviously things are going to get quite gross. I mean, you're looking at that. So, yeah, I'm not like a massive fan here. Like bullish wise, I would say you could probably try the bounce if we get a move here to 0.01287. Could probably try a bounce there. There's an order block down here. There's actually two. Well, that's a 4%. I don't know if that's going to be very helpful. But yeah, 0.013, a little bit lower. If you get that bounce, probably worth a look. But yeah, so this is a scenario. It just looks interesting to me. We're losing this area. So watch out for this 382 for a rejection there. 50-day MA coming to say hello. So yeah, could be some more downside there. Yes, Johnny, mid-range been burned many times. That's why just be patient. Just wait for the lows, wait for the highs. Sometimes it takes a while. Darren wants to know about Altcoin. Mid-range you trade if you're bored. You want to burn money. The best entries are always at those lows, those highs. Ape is looking very bad. I mean, this is lows that have never been seen before. I'd love to hear Simon's comments on this with the Lux Algo if he's around. But you know, Ape looks absolutely wrecked.
Bye-bye.
Trying to find something positive here. Just looks really bad. So we're going to look at Nakamoto. I see Nakamoto had a nice bounce if you want to play gaming tokens. Look, here's support. Okay, this is all I can give you guys. I can give you 1 hour support on Ape. So see, maybe. Let's see, pull some trends, maybe zoom in on the 15-minute. If you get a little trend break, then you can start looking for a long. That's 5% up to that low. So it's 5% to that resistance zone there. So that's the first area I would look for exits if it moved up. And then, you know, you can go full Bruce here, play the trend.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Okay, so there you go. There's a little trend break. Bruce, I don't know. You're going to have to give me your stamp of approval here if I boost this properly. But that looks like a play for me.
I'm not going to ape into ape. But
yeah, so, I mean, bottom of the range, maybe. I mean, we really zoom in here.
Yeah, risk reward. What's the how big is the move? How big is that?
So to that high is it looked like 5%.
Yeah.
And then to this high is 2.7, and your stop is 0.7.
Yeah, risk reward doesn't look kind of worth it to me.
So it's not ideal. If you wanna take that one, maybe that makes sense. but then you want
Yeah.
to wait for this to be lower, and
Right.
because you want to let it breathe. You want to have you want that type of trade. Okay, so that to me makes more sense now than trying to trade that mini move. So that's worth it. You know, that's a 1% with a 6% move, but then you got to let this thing drift down and almost scare the shit out of you, basically, to make you think it's gonna come down even more. That's when you need to be entering. We always get our best entries when you really, like, you don't even want to be in crypto. That's when you get your entries. When you want to just walk away from the screen and hating life, that's probably your best entry. And that's how they play you all the time.
Yep.
Okay, Marcus says Render's breaking the 15-minute wedge to the upside.
It is.
Marcus, let's talk about this perp situation. So Marcus got he had a stop on perp. Marcus, you're welcome to chat with us if you want to. Just let us know in the chat if you want to come up and talk. So he had a stop. So guys, if you're on the exchanges, when the market's dumping hard on some coins, or occasionally you might find that if you have a stop and you're using stop limit, so you'll have a limit and then an order amount. Sometimes if your limit and your order amount are too close to one another for that stop, the price can often just rip right through it and it's not going to hit. So it can liquidate your account completely. So in those type of situations, you know, you want to be in an isolated trade, not like a cross margin or something, because it can take your whole account out. And what I learned in super hectic conditions, it's probably safer. It's not ideal, but it's probably safer to have a market stop loss, so that you know that once that stop loss hits, it's going to market grab whatever it can find. If you have a limit and it misses your limit, it's just going to go. And we used to find that we had that on FTX quite a bit. You know, when things turned bad on FTX and it would start dumping and things like that, just stop losses just kept getting missed. So yeah, you need to just you need to figure out what works for you there. But you know, in certain situations, I use a stop and a limit, and I make sure that limit is a nice breathing room. So when it triggers, so when the order triggers, you know, there's a little bit lower for that limit, and then it hits the limit. But if you have the trigger too high and the limit too close, it can just go straight through.
Dylan, I'm going to have to take off right now.
Cool.
Thank you, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning, Dylan.
Bruce, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'm all alone here. Okay.
Oh, I feel
guys,
so
don't worry.
sad.
I got you. I got you for another 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll do some more.
All right.
Okay, Bruce. See you.
Ciao,
Thanks for that. Guys, Bruce's updates will be in the Discord, as he said. So if you missed anything, I'm sure his charts will be there.
Yep. In about an hour.
Cool, Bruce. Later. So Marcus, just to cover this perp situation, we saw that rejection on the 382. Let's see. We had a 382 rejection, I think, yesterday. I think that's where we pulled the fib from, if I'm not mistaken. And that was the rejection zone. We had this horizontal and this 382 area that was giving us a sign. Then it pumped again and you came back down. So this 200-day is now acting as support. I want to see what else we have here on perp other than that, because otherwise it's a long way down here. This is sort of the last chance saloon there. And then we're looking lower. We're looking at, I'd say, this 56 level. We're looking down there. I like that. So these are the perp zones for me. That 200-day, let's see how it goes there. Let's zoom in again. If you want to see if perp's going to start changing direction, you can do the Bruce vibe there. You can pull that trend like we were looking at for 8. Okay, so you can look at that. See on the 15 minutes. So you got your 200-day that's holding up. You've got these support markers here. Okay, so let's see what happens. Maybe you get that, and then you can go ride perp again. See how that goes. But eyes on this 200-day, guys. Christina wants to know, is 1% between limit and trigger okay and not too close? So, Christina, we've seen situations where this market dumps so hard and so fast that these exchanges actually freeze. Like you can't even like access it. Like it actually gets ridiculous. So yeah, like it's not ideal, but I mean 1% should trigger if it's like a top 30 or top 40 type token, I would say. You should be okay. But also, you know, guys, the downside of a market stop loss is that they market buy, and they market buy wherever they want. So if you think you're going to lose 3% on a stop loss and you hitting a market buy and the market's moving down, you might actually lose 4 or 5%. Okay, Uzi wants to see magic. The token. I'm not a magician. Okay, let's see. Ah, it's turning. 15 minutes. Horizontal. The fibs aren't tying very nicely, unfortunately, but we do have this SR situation. So you can see old resistance, support, support. So could be something brewing here. And let's look at these stocks. They 15 minutes turning up. 1 hour's coming down. 4 hours near the top. Again, it doesn't mean it's over. You can obviously do that for a while. This 1 hour needs to reverse though. So this 1 hour wants to come down still. So let's see what happens here. But just track the support. It seems to be holding. Track the trend. SHIB. Marcus, you're saying market or limit? Just elaborate on your question. Oh, so which SL do I prefer? Yeah, so if I'm not around, I do market. It's if things get volatile and things start dropping, you don't want a situation where you miss your stop. And then often I will manually stop out. So if I'm actively in a position, I don't have a stop set, I watch it. Sometimes I cut a percentage only. So if things are looking bad, I might cut 25% and just watch and see where the candle wants to close, maybe cut half. And I just monitor it, because for me, there's nothing worse for me than something that comes down, stops you out, and then reverses. So, you know, sometimes I'd rather just limit my risk and start cutting my position size. And then if I come back and this thing's pumped again, you know, then I'm okay. Okay, SHIB and BCH. Try not to do flash close. Yeah, blockchain B. Those flash closes will always take extra. Yeah. I'm assuming you're trading on MEXC or something if there's a flash close. Okay, let's look at SHIB. Yeah, we're still waiting for downside on SHIB, guys. I wouldn't. Yeah, I think there's other trades for me other than SHIB. I wouldn't chase anything on SHIB yet. Just not feeling it. Marcus, am I allowed to say I'm not feeling it? I know you don't like it if I give I put emotions and things into this. Okay, so SHIB, let's look lower down. 0, 0, lots of zeros. 590 still. Okay, good old theta. Mike, let's do theta, man. Michael, how are you? Do you want to come up here and chart theta for us, Mike? I need some company up here. It's very lonely. Just got my own voice echoing in my ear. Okay, what did we get from theta? Look at this. Mike, are you going to join us? Let us know, Mike. Okay, so yeah, you can see we had this alarm for theta on the daily. It didn't ping, but it did hit our zone. And you can see why that was an interesting zone for us, major support area. So just keep your eyes on this this theta level here. Let's look what's deeper. If we zoom out and things, let's say the wheels come off. We've got this 0.4 that I'm watching. Okay, so this is still on the table, guys. We're not out of the woods yet. Look at this thing. So I still like this 0.4 as a visit. I think we can get there on theta. And then this is the weekly. So we got this major weekly trend we can watch. So if we start breaking this weekly trend, then we can change our opinion. But looking at this situation, move up, down, up, down. I'd love to see it down here. See what we get there. But first things first, let's deal with the support at 0.575 because there might be a bounce on the cards for us there. Okay, and it's big support, so it doesn't just break without a fight there. Okay, Mike says he hasn't charted theta. Okay, Mike, well, next time I'm getting you up here, you can do a chart for us. Cool. Shot, Pharaoh, thanks for that. Lots of these alts don't recover even when BTC is pumping. Is there other factors happening? So when BTC starts pumping and the alts aren't recovering as well, you know, that BTC dominance starts climbing. So you need to keep one eye on that. Yesterday, let me just show you guys. Yesterday, we saw the dominance was dropping while BTC was dropping. We were loving that because that was telling us these alts were starting to stabilize a little bit, even though BTC was dropping. You can see, and then it came down. Look at that, it bounced here on this trend, and BTC pumped. So now we want to see a BTC dominance reversal, and that should unleash these alts a little bit for us again. So let's look for that. Let's look for a rejection there. We're going to lose the 618. Okay, let's cheat a little bit. Let's put it up there. Okay. Looks better on the eye. Okay, but yeah, we're still looking for a rejection here. So if we get this BTC dominance rejection, we should get the alts moving. Okay, it might just be a small little move, but that should at least help the alts a little bit. Marcus, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's all this cool. Marcus says I'm sounding like my voice sounds cool with this mic. So thanks. Yeah, it's good equipment I've got here. Uzi, CFX. Let's look at that. Oh, we lost our big area. Okay, there were a couple of areas that we were watching on the CFX. Let's just zoom out. Okay. So guys, there's actually work to do down here. If we lose this, we got a problem. So CFX, I would say it's a 30% downside. I mean, the best trade here on CFX might be a short into any strength. So if we get that move up on CFX and we get this next visit up here, this might be a boss move if you can get that going. So let's see how we go. I mean, there's still longs on the table if it holds the support. Let's pull a box around here. So let's watch this. It's not a high conviction zone, guys. This is the wick. If it doesn't hold this thing, it's going to start looking like Matic. And we'll look at Matic again just now. But Matic now has lost a big area and is now making its way down to 0.3. And I think we can have something similar to that. So there's two short opportunities here. A push into resistance. So look for this. Okay, you can get your entry. Otherwise, we lose it. You need to wait. You can't start shorting when it's dumping. You got to wait for it to push up. And then we're going to do the exact same thing we've done with these others. Old support becomes resistance, and then you get your next opportunity. And there might be a nice move here. 26%. From where we are now, up 17%. See, big moves. And by the time it gets up there, everyone's feeling bullish again. They've forgotten about the bad vibes, and then they come for you. That's when they come for you. So you got to be careful at these resistance zones. You've got to take your profits. Okay, watch this support now carefully on CFX. You can even zoom in closer. 1 hour, 15 minutes. Let's see what we're getting here. And look for that move. You go full Bruce on this. Okay, so let this thing play out. That's your best one. Okay, Danny's on his way. Thanks, Danny. See you, man. Okay, PYR and Nakamoto Games, guys, and then I'm going to jump. Thomas wants me to look at XRP. Okay, let's look at XRP too. So PYR. Guys, remember, a lot of this game is just being patient, just waiting for your opportunity. Sometimes you only wait a day or two. It feels like an eternity when you've got itchy fingers and you want to be in a position. But if you can just be patient, these things come. You just got to hang in there and try and trade less, really. Just trade less. Wait for the best entries. Don't get a half entry or, something that looks okay. Just wait for the solid ones. There's enough coins out there. PYR 8 hour. Okay, so we're in the same place as yesterday. A little bit of up down, fighting this 200-day and 50-day MA, dumping into a potential golden cross. The golden cross is when the 50-day pushes up over the 200. That's supposed to be a bullish sign for everything. So here, dumping into the golden cross, we see that often as well. And then the reversal comes. Would I trade this right here? No, it's not really a trade for me. Let's look closer. When we see dumping like this, I actually like to get Simon involved. When you see that type of move, because then we can see what the indicators are saying. So we'll pull up some indicator stuff here. Okay, so support areas. I mean, you can see even on this lower time frame, we had this double top on the 1 hour. So that's bearish. Obviously, the double top, things start looking down. 200-day could be an area to watch. Let's see what ties in with the 200-day. Now, this is the 1 hour. So when we start looking at fibs and supports and things on these lower time frames, they are less strong than, for example, a weekly support area. But we still look at them. We still use them. Okay, so the fibs aren't great. I wanted to see a 382 sitting nicely in this zone. If we had a 382 sitting here, I'd be quite excited, I think. But it's actually a little bit higher. Okay, so leverage trade, I would just be very patient here. I wouldn't rush that. If you're buying spot, probably an okay DCA area. Let's pull up this Lux Algo situation. We've got a green. Let me just get these settings right before I comment. Okay, so if you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it says optimal sensitivity 18. So I'm going into my signal sensitivity and I'm changing it to 18. So they guide you as to what settings you need. Okay, so you can see in that short, we had the short signal there. They gave us 1+, and then we had a bit of a move, but they only printed the long over here. And now we're already pulling back. Support zones, watch that, and then watch that. Those are the only support areas to really watch for me. So potentially there is a long there, potentially. Otherwise, you got to wait for this move to the low down there at 3.24, that sort of level. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. And XRP and Nakamoto Games. Big level loss for XRP. So yeah, all these alts, they're all looking the same. It really just, it's starting to smell like short opportunities brewing here with these pushes back up. So we're losing these levels. So the bulls, they just pull out these trends. Okay, this is the safest way to play this. Okay, if you didn't get the moves to the lows, you've got to wait for these trend breaks. Look at this resistance here. 0.48, 0.49 is resistance. So we'd probably just look at it like that, something along those lines, unless we start breaking up and then we move back up to that range. But right now, this looks like a short opportunity approaching at 0.49-ish, somewhere around there. And there's a 618 as well. Okay, so let's neaten this up. Okay, so that looks like a big area to me, and you can see why it's interesting. Horizontal trend and the 618. So if we were inverting this thing and we were saying, if we go full Bruce here, what will we do? This looks like that exact chart he was showing us just now. We're looking for this support buy on trend 618 and then a move higher. So let's move it back to what we're looking at, and inverted. That's why it's a short zone, guys. So it's the same thing, it's just the opposite way. Okay, Nakamoto Games. Look at that support bounce yesterday. That was proper. Okay, now it's fighting a little bit of resistance here. Guys, let me know how you feel about music playing in the background. David is a bit of a DJ, and he's got a few things that he does, and I think it'll be quite nice to have a very subtle situation in the back. If it won't distract anybody, let me know your thoughts, because we're probably going to bring it in for a while and just experiment. It can get very dark and lonely in here talking by myself. Okay, 618 is what I like. So you can see why that made sense yesterday, why we had that bounce. 618 area. 618, 618. Now you need to wait. If you want to be long, you need to wait now. Some would say there's a trend here, or a flag, can maybe call it that. You want to just wait for that. You just want to make sure we start breaking levels, we get support, and then we push up. So areas to watch on the way up would be these guys here. And then your support is the 618. So if things start going south, you can look for potential bounces here at the 0.4, just above that area. Okay, cool, everybody. I'm going to run. Let me know about this music situation. I hope we covered everybody. Soup wants to know if we'll play Rick Astley. Well, if you want, we could play Rick Astley. Could be fun. House music, perfect. Yes, Fahad, thank you. I think that's a good idea. Cool, guys. The Discord is updated, so you can go in there. There are alarms set on some of the charts, so you should get notifications. And yeah, just play it safe out there. Just wait for your entries. Don't rush them. They should come to you if you are patient. BTC update. We're still sitting in this range. Is not looking bad. You know, we want to see BTC holding and that dominance dropping, and that would be a nice thing for these altcoins. For the bulls, if BTC starts falling here, we're going to see these altcoins falling with it. So those of you that are in shorts, then you can hold on to them. Okay, so break it down into a range like this. You can see how we play it. This is mid-range. For me, again, just to recap, I'm looking for shorts up here at this 27 region. The same where we looked for longs yesterday, we lost that area. We looked for that fake out. We'll look for shorts on a potential fake out as well. Okay, so eyes on that. Cool, everybody. Thank you. And we'll be back here tomorrow again. And then Sheldon's doing a show, so I'll be on with Sheldon briefly tomorrow at some point. He's in Singapore now, so that's why you haven't seen him on the show for 2 days. He's been traveling. But yeah, we'll catch you then. Cheers, everybody.